Hey guys, Joe here. I'm working on a 2013 Kia Sorento SUV. I'm replacing the stabilizer links on both sides. The friend of mine that I'm working on this for, she said that she was hearing a little bit of a clunky noise coming from the front end. So I took her for a test drive, and sure enough, there was a little clunk every time you would kind of go over a small bump. Sometimes if you'd rock it back and forth. And I did a little inspection. I didn't find any broken stabilizer links, but what I did find was some of the rubber boots were a little deteriorated and ripped, if you will, and it's a potential for moisture, salt, corrosion, that sort of thing to start forming in the stabilizer link and wearing it out. And that's where you'll start to hear those clunks. That vibration is transferred, and it can sound like it's coming from the right or the left. It's hard to say. I replaced the driver's side first, and I took it for a test drive. After I replaced just the driver's side, I'm about to do the passenger side, but after I did take it for a test drive, the clunk was gone. So I did indicate to her that I believed it was the driver's side because of that deterioration of the boot, and it turns out it was correct. So I'm going to show you how to do the passenger side, which is exactly the same as the driver's side, and just some of the ways that I have found to make it a little easier to replace some of these stabilizer links for you. Now this car is not super old. It's 2013, so it's 4 years old. Doesn't have a lot of rust yet, but sometimes these nuts are a little difficult to get off. I'm going to show you what is probably an easy way to do it when there's no rust. If it's a little rusty, sometimes you have to grind off those bolts, get a torch on them. It can be difficult, I'll be honest, but I'm going to show you just some of the little quick tips that I use just by using a pry bar and things like that to help give yourself a little space to work and be able to get that stabilizer link in a lot easier. So stay tuned. Here it comes. Stabilizer link 2013 Kia Sorento passenger side. Alright guys, when you're doing these stabilizer links, what you want to do is when you take the first one off, compare it to make sure that you're putting the right one on. It does not line up with the angles. This is the driver's side, this is passenger side. When I took this one off, I measured it up with the driver's side and it was correct. And when I take off the passenger side, I'll just reconfirm with the new one to make sure that it matches with that one. So, one thing I will show you on these stabilizer links is you want to look for these rubber boots to be worn or torn, and that'll start getting some moisture inside, salt. Those things will start to corrode on you inside, and you'll lose. This is one where you can see the boot has pulled away from where it's supposed to be, and of course water, road salt, that sort of thing can get inside there. And what happens is these things start to move around too easy and they start to clunk. It's hard to tell when it's off, but when it's got a lot of pressure on it, just a very little minor space in there that's wore out will make a clunk. So just to show you how that works. And sometimes these just break, snap off down here or down here. That's another pretty catastrophic, easy to spot symptom. So let's get over to the car and I'll show you how to do the actual stabilizer link. Alright guys, so here's the stabilizer link. Here it is here. You've got a bolt up here and there's a bolt down back here. This one you can't do right away. Well, you could try, but it's a little difficult to get to. I'm going to show you an easier way to get to that bolt. So let's first take off this one up here, and I've got a little can of PB Blaster, which is what I like to use. Everyone's got their specialty. I'm going to spray a little bit down there in the other spot too, just get it soaking a little bit. Next I'm going to take a 17mm socket, and I have an air ratchet, or an air gun I should say. I have an air gun, so that's what I'm going to be using to remove this top one. And just hit it quick and it should come off. Just like that. So that just pops right out of there, nothing to it. So it really wasn't even any pressure on this one, but I will show you when we put the new one in how, if we have to, how to put the new one in and use some leverage with a crowbar in order to fit that link back up in there. Now the one on the bottom down here, what I normally do is I get a long crowbar and I get that crowbar in there It's worth it to invest in a crowbar, let me tell you. Let me see if I can move the camera so you can see a little better here. So you get this crowbar in here like this, and you're just gonna push, and you see how this pushes down? It'll give you clearance under this down here. Let me see if I can get you a better angle on that. All right guys, I think that's about the best angle we're gonna get. Let me just show you how when you pry this down, how this moves down here. Now I have clearance to get in between the bottom of this lower control arm, and I can get on the socket down, or on the nut down there. So I'm gonna try my air gun on it. We'll see if it'll come off if we're lucky. And we got really lucky, and that came right off. So here's your old one that we just took off from the passenger side. So we want to compare it to make sure it matches up with the angles of the new passenger side. And it does. So we're going to take the new one and get it installed. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to get your bottom put in first, and just thread that bolt right through the hole, and then take your nut and get your nut started on the back. Now this nut is bigger with this new set than the old one, and this is a 19 millimeter. So I'm going to get my air ratchet on this, and we'll drive that nut home. You again, you want to get your pry bar in here, pry against the control arm to lower it far enough to get your socket on. My dog is visiting me. Probably get scared away. You just want to drive that home all the way, then you can take your pry bar out. Alright, then you're going to take the top, take that nut off, and just go ahead and put that through there. Take your big nut here, screw that back on. If you have an air gun, just hammer it home. And that's all there is to it. Put your tires back on, just make sure everything is tight, and you're done. So guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, and if you have any questions, don't forget to comment below. There should be some videos over here and over here that you can click on that'll send you to some other sites that I have about other car repairs. Thanks for watching Joe Snowmobiles, and we'll see you next time.